Morning all. How's everybody doing? All good. Everybody make lots of money yesterday on the New Zealand move, or rather this morning on the New Zealand move. Very nice move, as expected. We were looking for the New Zealand dollar to pump on the rate increase, which it did very nicely. So if you got your New Zealand longs on, well done. Very nice profit on those this morning. Morning, Andy. Morning, Michael. We'll have a whiz through all the pairs this morning, midweek analysis, and just have a look at where everything is and what's potentially happening for the rest of this week. And obviously have a look at the news, etc. Just give it a couple of minutes, wait for a few more to amble in. So I turned the EAs back on this morning. I'm bored with war. I've had them turned off, obviously, for the last week and a half, basically, not been taking any trades. Morning, Aseni, apart from scalps. Morning, Diamond, not New Zealand, sat that one out. Cleaned up on S&P late day moves. Yeah, lovely move on the indices yesterday. Big, strong end of day push after that drop. We'll have a look at all of those in a bit. So I stuck all the EAs back on this morning because I need to make some money. Morning, Jacob. Morning, Neo. And I've been scalping, obviously, which has been going okay, but just want to get the position trading back on track. The reason I've turned them back on is obviously to do with Russia. They've gone in, basically, and the normal safe havens that we see getting piled into is not happening. So it seems to me that the market is not looking to react as we had before. So when we had all these big news announcement of Putin's doing this, Putin's doing that, Putin's doing this, Putin's doing that, it's not really moved the market in the way that I thought it would. I was expecting, big old 300 plus ADR days on US dollar, Swiss, yen, and it's not happening. I was reading an article yesterday. Not sure if it's on there. It was on the news yesterday. I can't remember which one it was. But there was a couple of articles basically saying the same thing, that the safe havens are not reacting as they normally would in times of crisis. It seems to me that the market is not going to be as affected by this as I thought it probably would be. I can't find that article now, but it's on the news. So where we normally tend to get these big squeezes happening and these big piles into safe haven currencies, that is not happening. We're getting market movement, we're getting fluctuation and spikes, but we're not getting the panic buying and selling. And I think it's probably to do with the fact that it's Russia that is at the heart of all of this, and Ukraine. And although they've got a lot of oil and gas supplies, etc., sanctions haven't seemed to have done anything, not really batting an eye at the sanctions. And the rest of the economies aren't going to be massively affected by what goes on there. Maybe Europe to a certain extent, but that will all change, obviously, if it escalates, obviously, with other countries deciding to step in. But at the moment, it seems to me that the US, the UK, and everybody else is saying we're not going to step in militarily unless you decide to cross into other borders, in which case then obviously it becomes a problem. So I think the market, I've come to the decision, is probably going to be a little bit more stable than I was anticipating. I was just waiting for those big, horrible, spiky moves. We had more moves off of the news basically last week. So Yeah, it's just at the moment it's a case of have to sort of suck it and see. And I can't stop trading because I need to make money at the end of the day. I've had a really good month, and I thought, well, I've made the money this month. I'd rather not jeopardize it. And I'm not seeing any market movement. I'm seeing accumulation on the US dollar, which is not what I was expecting to see, considering Putin stepped over the line now. I would have expected more movement than this. The indices as well. They are going down, but they were going down. We were expecting them to go down anyway. So there's nothing war-related that's happening here. We're seeing a bit more volatility, but we've had massive volatility because we've just switched into a bear market. So I don't think that is really going to affect the indices either. So I've decided to go back onto the EA and put them back online, and we'll see what happens over the next week or so. But I will be keeping a close eye on exposure. That's the main thing, obviously, to worry about, is just not getting overexposed on anything. So there you go. Back in the game now, because I don't really want to sit there forever waiting for something to happen. And there's that danger, obviously, if you start to get uber cautious in the markets, you don't take any risk. If you don't take any risk, you can't make any money. Our job is risk taking. That is what a trader's job is to put risk on the line to make money. If we don't take any risk, we can't make any money. So got to get that money on. So EAs are all back in action today. So I've started the VPS back up again, and everything is now set to auto trade. So we will see what happens. But obviously, I've got the 4 strategies running. I've got 13, 19, 27-ish, 30-odd% banked this month. So obviously lots of zeros. But everything is back now. Auto trading turned on. So we will see how we go. But I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I've got everything set to decent ADR distances between entries. Just a little cautious, but can't sit on the sidelines forever, regardless of what Putin does. So, Andy, the market got used to the thought of Putin invading, and when he actually did it, the market just shrugged its shoulders and went, "Yeah, whatever." I don't know that it was priced in. I just don't think it had any impact. Morning, Rahat. Which is weird, because I would expect it to. I would expect it to have a big impact, but it didn't. So that's what I was waiting for yesterday. What he did yesterday, crossing the line, sending stuff in, is what I was expecting to be that start of that movement, and we didn't get anything. So you got to assume that the market is not going to react to this. And that article that I was reading kind of hammered it home. I can't really find it at the minute, but it was basically explaining what normally happens when we have times of crisis, when we have risk on, risk off, switches happening very, very quickly, when we have volcanoes erupting, earthquakes hitting, tsunamis, earth-shattering events, wars breaking out. There's normally a quick scarper into safe haven currencies to protect money. Gold, we've had a movement on gold, but we haven't had a massive movement on gold. This is going back to sort of second week of the month. We had some money coming into gold, but not, we've seen way bigger movements than that, haven't we, in gold? We've had some huge moves in gold, not off the back of something like war, like this. It all seems to me that the FX market is a lot less affected than expected. So, which is good news. Good news. So, but obviously you can understand why I was a bit cautious. Having a massive month and then potentially having the whole lot ripped away from you was not what I was interested in. So I'm a little bit more confident now in the fact that the market's just going to amble along as normal. You watch this weekend, it's all going to go completely mental, and we're going to get 500 ADR moves on Monday, and that's really going to screw us up. But anyway, what goes up must come down. If they do stupid movements like that, they will have to take profit on them regardless. The market still has to make money. Let's start on the news today. Just so you know, there's no session this afternoon. I'm not here this afternoon, so I won't be trading this afternoon, just to let you know. So there's no New York session today. News-wise today, we've had the New Zealand dollar rate announcement. As I expected, we had the push on New Zealand. So basically with news, whenever we get rate announcements or any forecasted change that comes out as expected, you tend to get a move in the direction of the COT report. And in this case, the COT report on the New Zealand was bullish, so therefore the market moved bullish. So New Zealand dollar, nice big strong push this morning, which is what I was anticipating happening. So if you made money out of those New Zealand moves, good job. A lot of ADRs hit today off of New Zealand. We'll have a look at those in a minute. 9:30, we've got pound monetary policy report hearings, which are very hit and miss with impact. So we kind of know what is going to be in those most of the time, unless there's something reported which is not as expected, then you'll get a movement. But it's variable. So keep an eye on your pound pairs this morning. So US dollar, we are stuck in accumulation. Since we had the news, we spiked back out of those highs, and we're now sitting basically where we have been for the last sort of week. So the market's just gone into a I'm not really sure what the hell to do at the minute, which is understandable. Sideways moving averages, no directional impact whatsoever on the US dollar. So we'll see what happens with the Dixie, but we are expecting Dixie to go long. And come back up to sort of retest that accumulation. So that's where I'm expecting it to go. I've still got this little thing in the back of my head that says they should come down and take this liquidity, which they haven't. So, you know, they might come down. They may well still prove me right and come down and just sweep the 72 and then go from there. So we'll see what happens. But news catalyst-wise this week, we've got GDP tomorrow and we've got PCE on Friday. So we have got US dollar news catalysts coming up tomorrow and Friday. So we could see a dump tomorrow stroke Friday, which will take us down to take this level out. And if they take that level out, I would then expect them to pump from there. So we'll see. But at the moment it's looking, you know, fairly bullish. We've got an ever so slight ascending channel. So yeah, difficult to tell at the minute with the US dollar. Simeon, would you still say that gold is a buy? Yeah, I think so. I still think gold, you'll find it will appreciate. There's been a lot of purchasing of it, obviously, there's no doubt, and it's over the last couple of weeks where we've had all this uncertainty is where the gold buying has started to happen. So they are definitely buying gold, and again, that is the same sort of expectation you would see when we are going into times of war. Sorry, not war, but I mean any kind of uncertainty financially. So we are getting up there. Whether that holds or not is difficult to tell. We're waiting for US dollar strength to come through, and we're not seeing that, which is another reason why gold is getting that extra push, because we've not got any US dollar strength to push it back down again. We've got this area of resistance up there. So I would say at the moment on gold, you're looking for a pullback to one of those levels, and then a continuation higher. So it's either going to come back and test the 24, or it's going to just come back to support and find support and then try to push up to these highs. We haven't got to these highs yet, so I think it needs to get up there at some point. But yeah, I'd still be long gold long term. So buy the dips basically. You should be all right. Right. Indices. We'll cover the indices quickly while I'm here. So NAS yesterday. Zoom in. So NAS, we broke new lows yesterday. We cracked that low. We didn't hold it though. So we came back. We had an end of day rally on all the indices. But they did start off massively bearish out of New York. So we have now put in a new low. So market structure is officially now bear market, which we thought anyway on these pullbacks when we got the M pattern reversal at the 24. It was looking bearish. We We knew it was bearish. So we're now pulling back. Yeah. So 3 or 4 days down, pull back. A few days down, pull back. A few days down, pull back. So today, potentially, could accumulate, could end up somewhere around there, and then we'll look for the next leg down. S&P, same thing. S&P is even more tidy down here with a bounce. Again, 3 day down, pull back. 3 day down, pull back. Looking for a pullback and drop. So how far this pullback is going to go is difficult to tell. But yeah, looking for a pullback on that one. Same thing, obviously. Dow didn't make new lows either. So Nasdaq's the only one that's actually made new lows and made new market structure, but the others obviously are following suit. And the DAX is pulling back up. So remember these levels that I had drawn on that we were looking to pull back up into, sort of these lows here. It looks like we're coming to retest. In fact, we have just tested that this morning. What was that line drawn from? That one there. So let's just draw that second level in there. So we've come and tested this morning. Let me just take that fib off. So this is a 50% retracement basically of the move. So we come and tested that this morning. So watch the DAX potentially for shorts from here. If the DAX doesn't do that, I think this is where we're looking to come to, which will be kind of around about 61.8 retracement of that massive dump that we had on this candle. So we're retracing this candle at the moment, basically looking for power to come for the next move down. So all indices short still. Just we're in pullbacks at the minute, so looking for opportunities to go short at some point. On the lower time frames, DAX. I don't know if anybody did anyone play the gap fill this morning? But worked to a T this morning. Very nice gap fill. And now we're pushing off to the upside. So again, look at this move here. And we're up at 50% retracement on that move. So yeah, looking like potentially this is where we may start to drop today, but we'll see. See where that one gets to. Right, so let's have a look at FX. So ADRs today, Aussie New Zealand, coming down very, very, very nicely. We got 125. So this is obviously the New Zealand dollar rate announcement, pushed the Aussie New Zealand down. So this is New Zealand dollar strength. We're fading at the moment into that gap. They quite often will fade that gap before continuing, if it's going to continue. So yeah, if you're taking the ADR reversals on these, just be a little careful, obviously, because it's as expected news and we're expecting New Zealand dollar to power up, so you counter trend with it. But you had a reversal alert. Where would you have got that this morning? Not until there. So you would have only got sort of 8 pips out of it. It's come back up. I didn't quite test yesterday's low, but looking like it's dropping back down. This could well just be powering up for the next move, back up to there, and then potentially look for a short out of it. But yeah, nice hit to the downside, obviously. I wasn't awake for that. Not many people are in the Asian session. So, but yeah, very nice push down on the news. Euro New Zealand, same thing. These are all basically New Zealand based today, as you can see. So yeah, good push down. We've hit ADR, just about to get a reversal alert there. Look for potential fades. So with all of these, there's one of two things is going to happen. It's a calculated risk. You're going to get the reversal alert. You're going to fade the gap. Yeah, or you're not going to get that fade now. It's going to push, and then it's going to come back and fade it later. Normally in the next couple of days. So it's either going to fade it immediately and do a continuation move, or it's going to push back down and then continue. Obviously, this is the euro, so you'd be short on this. So everything you're taking against the New Zealand dollar is counter trend. Yeah, so just be aware, obviously, you're trading against the trend with everything New Zealand based at the moment. Pound New Zealand, again, nice hit. Pound, what's the pound doing this morning? Looks weak to me. Yeah, weak. Very weak. So yeah, pound obviously is weak this morning. This one I think is extended on the RSIs as well. We'll have a look at those in a minute. But again, at some point likely to come and fade that gap. If you look at it on a higher time frame, M15, it's still got a whacking great gap in there. Big gap there, which got tested. So again, That gap got tested. Expect that to get tested at some point. But obviously at the moment it's still ploughing down. So any of these that get massive extensions today, 170s, 150s, 175s, that's really when you want to start getting really interested in them. But they could all just bounce from where they are. You never know with ADRs. New Zealand dollar Swiss, big push to the upside. Now the Swiss franc is massively weak at the moment. Aussie dollar Swiss is pushing. CAD Swiss, so we saw this massive weakness on the Swiss franc, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the normal safe havens getting money piled into them. The Swissie's not getting anything piled into it. It's gone completely weak, which is totally counter to what you would expect to see. It's almost as if the market has been piling in to the Swissie, getting ready, and then going, actually, this isn't as bad as we think this will, and then piling back out, and i.e. the market is just not really worried about this. So again, weakness there. Swissie will quite often move in 3-day moves. So we're on day 2 push potentially at the moment. So with the Swissies, obviously, just keep your eyes peeled on those because they will power up, and when they power up, they will go strong. But New Zealand dollar Swiss, obviously at the moment, New Zealand is strong and Swiss franc is weak, so that's why we're getting twice the strength on this one. So be prepared for a good 150 ADR on this today, quite possibly. You haven't had a reversal on M5 on it yet. Sorry, on M15. You probably have an M5 there. Yeah, you would have had one on M5. I hadn't hit ADR then though. So yes, just hit ADR. Got some tails going at the moment, so looks pretty good. But I probably wait on these New Zealands. Wait for a little bit longer. Again, big push. Haven't faded it at all. Didn't get anywhere near. And up. So again, we've got a weak US dollar at the minute. Well, we haven't got a weak US dollar. We just haven't got a strong US dollar at the moment. So everything's taking advantage of that as well. So good extensions on the ADRs. These are all extended on RSI on M15 as well. And you'll find quite a few of these when we look at the hourlies, and the 4 hourlies will also be extended there too. Michael, I just got into an Aussie Swiss on a sell yesterday. It's on fire to the upsides. Do you think it will drop? Yeah. I mean, the Aussie, obviously Aussie and New Zealand are very closely linked, and they tend to move quite a lot together. The Swiss franc, yeah, I mean, it will power up, definitely. And you'll get one of those elevator shaft moves on the Swissy. So when you get power into the Swissy, you will literally have a session or two where it will just collapse and undo, usually the entire day before, or couple of days in some cases. So don't be shocked to see 150 ADR move in the opposite direction on the Swiss franc when it decides to power up. And this is the thing at the minute, it's not powering up as we would expect it to in times of crisis. It's weakening. So I'm not sure if maybe there's potentially money tied into the Swiss banks to do with the pipeline in Germany. And obviously that Germany's halted the new pipeline connection with Russia. I'm wondering if there's financing there that is being moved around by either Russia or the Eurozone, which is taking money out of the Swissy at the minute. So that could be what is causing this. And then obviously that will all just stop happening, and then the Swissy will dump. So yeah, I think that you're okay with it. I mean, it depends. I don't know how many positions you've got on, Michael, but I mean, if you're position trading this, obviously, as business as usual, you scale in. It's not extended on RSI, but you know, if you take an ADR reversal on M5, for example, I don't know what that was ADR yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, 150 ADR yesterday. So if you take an ADR reversal, probably took it there, and it doesn't work, you scale in. So typically sort of half to an ADR distance. So you probably would have taken your second position sometime in Asia. So you'd be in 2 positions at the moment with an average around there. If it's continuing to push, you'll get into your 3rd position up there, which will bring your average up to there. Yeah. As soon as we get a dump, you're well within ADR. As soon as we get a dump, you're out. Yeah. So however you get into the market, whatever the reason for your entry, whether it be an RSI extension, an ADR extension, just a reversal at a market reversal at supply and demand, support, resistance, however you get in, if that trade doesn't work, you scale in waiting for the profit take move. Yeah. So they haven't taken profit yesterday. They're pushing again today. There's no profit taken on this move yesterday. There's no profit taken yet on this move yesterday. At some point, they will get to a point where they go, we've got to take profit. They'll start to take profit. Then you'll get that minimum sort of 30 to 50% retracement. So it's same as usual. Whatever the reason for your entry, yeah. If you get in short here and you got it wrong, you get in short here, you get out there. Yeah. If you miss that exit, you get in short here, you get out here. You know, it's just you're waiting for the movement. But if you feel uncomfortable and you've got into 6 or 7 positions where you should have got into 1 or 2, maybe you might want to cut a bit of loss. I don't know. Don't know what your position is, but yeah. So New Zealand dollar Swiss, obviously, very nice short opportunity at the moment. I mean, that's perfect. Aussie dollar Swiss, New Zealand dollar Swiss are going to do the same thing. So huge extension there. We'll get a profit take move at some point, and they will pull that back to support or resistance. And we've got New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So I think I've covered this already, haven't I? Getting sidetracked. So I just wanted to also cover the weeklies. Euro Swiss. Anybody take this weekly reversal? I said I wouldn't take it. Antonius, same with the Euro Swiss. Yeah. Euro Swiss, are you long or short? Should be short on the Euro Swiss. But yeah, if anybody took this reversal yesterday, lovely. So this was an ADR on Monday. Played out beautifully. It was an RSI extension as well. But I don't like longing it. So yeah, nice short opportunity at the moment on Euro Swiss, and really nicely pulled back. So yeah, V-shaped recovery on that one. But it's just undone. Remember I said when we were up here and we were shorting this, I got out here, I think, somewhere around there. And I said, you know, we'd be looking probably for new lows. We've done the new lows now. So profit take has started on that sell move. And that profit take will come up to probably 50%. We're probably at 38 at the moment. Let's measure it and see. So we're at 38 in the minute. Could be anywhere between there and there. And then next leg down. But again, we're waiting for the Swiss franc. You know, think of trading like waiting for a bus or waiting for a train. You just have to wait. You have to be patient. It's the biggest thing in Forex is patience. Especially if you're position trading. It's going to happen. You just have to wait. And the market decides when it happens. You've got nothing you can do about it. You get on the bus, you get on the train, you get off at the next stop. Or you get off, wait at the stop for the train to come along and then you jump on. But unfortunately, you know, if it wants to squeeze and wants to move in that direction, you have to wait for them to build their positions to such an extent as they're ready to take their profits. And then when they take their profits, we take ours. Antonius, same with Euro. Yeah, so I just covered that one. How to play average weekly range, average monthly range if ADR has not been hit. So the weeklies and monthlies is exactly the same principle. Yeah, exactly the same principle. On average, the Aussie New Zealand moves 46 pips in a day. When it's moved that amount, it's extended beyond normal conditions, and you will tend to find an accumulation or a profit take. Exactly the same with the weeklies. On average, the Euro Swiss moves 108 pips in a week. If by Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday, it's exceeded those levels, likelihood is you're going to get an accumulation or a pullback. Yeah. Same with the monthlies. If it's got to these levels within sort of a week or 2 weeks, highly likely that we are probably done for the month and we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. Yeah. So it's the same principle: weekly ranges, monthly ranges, and daily ranges. There is an average that price moves, and when it exceeds that, it's extended. When it's extended without having a rest, we need a profit take. So that's when we pounce. Yeah. So same principles. So Euro Swiss, obviously, if we look at it on a higher time frame. So this is the week, obviously. These separators are the weeks. So we started off, we pushed up, and then literally within a day, we dumped an entire week's move in one go without the market pausing for any profit take whatsoever. Now the market is taking all its profit. Yeah. Pound New Zealand, absolutely exhausted. Yeah. It's done 260 odd pips, 300 pips on a 258 range this week. Hasn't taken a profit. Actually, it has had a little profit take move in the middle there, but so yeah, it's massively extended. So at some point soon, we would expect that to pop back up. New Zealand dollar CAD, massively extended to the upside. We've got tails going in on that one at the moment. So you just take a short, but you decide when you take a short. So with these weeklies, I would tend to use I wouldn't go M5. I would look at M15, potentially H1 on those, and obviously see how they sort of drop from there. So, but again, same thing applies with the strength of the move. You'll find a lot of the times with the weeklies, they will pull back very quickly. But if they get continued extensions up until sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, and they haven't done a pullback, a little bit like the Pound New Zealand is doing at the moment, we haven't really had a decent pullback on this. This is absolutely primed for a profit take move at the moment. We did have a bit of one there, but obviously it's hit ADR again today. So if you're getting something that's extended on the weekly and it's also extended on the daily, you know that this day is quite possibly the one where we're going to get that move back in the opposite direction. Starting anyway. I mean, it doesn't necessarily going to happen today, but it could start and then continue the following day. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Yeah. Absolutely shot. But the other thing you'll find with these as well, a lot of the time, is you're also going to get alerted to them on RSI as well. Because to get that far, that quick, in a week, it's got to move pretty strong. Strength is going to give you RSI extensions on the hourly and the 4-hourly charts as well. So there's another one there. That would have been a weekly on the New Zealand dollar Swiss. Look what happened after that. What do you think is going to happen now? It's coming back down. It's going to take a profit. They've got to take profit on this. No one's taken any profit yet. Yeah, they've moved this thing 150% of its normal weekly range without taking a dime of profit out of the move. They are going to take profit out of that move in a minute. And when they do, this thing's going to come down like a house of cards. Yeah, at least 50%. So this is where we're jumping in short. And it's going to be based on the Swiss franc, obviously. So so it's the same process, yeah? Does that make sense, Rahat? And same with the monthlies. Yeah, not now. I mean, because we're on the 23rd of the month. There's only 28 days this month. This is the last week. Yeah, we're halfway through the last week of the month. We don't play the monthly ranges now. Monthly ranges you play in weeks 1, 2, 3, really. But I like to see the weeklies. I like to see being hit Mondays, Tuesdays, early morning Wednesdays. Dailies, if they hit early on in the day, brilliant. Monthlies, week 1, 2, maybe halfway through week 3 if we're getting extensions. But it's the same thing. So think scalping, intraday, swing. Yeah, those are your 3 sort of time frames for trading those. There you go. Quick lesson in the ADR dash. Morning. Oh, any suggestions on Aussie dollar yen? Went in too soon on a sell, Harry. We'll look at the RSIs in a sec. Where did you get in? And why did you get in? I mean, this isn't extended at the moment. The Aussie dollar is moving off the back of the New Zealand as well. So the Aussie and New Zealand, this is why I always say, this has nothing to do with your trade, Harry, but I always say, if you're going to get into an Aussie trade or a New Zealand trade, pick one or the other. Don't do both. Yeah. So if you get an Aussie dollar Swiss set up, don't trade New Zealand dollar Swiss, because it's the same thing basically. They will move in tandem. They're both, Aussie and New Zealand are obviously completely separate countries, completely separate economies, but they're next door to each other. They trade together. They do the same thing at the same time. They're almost pegged. They're not, but. So yeah, Aussie dollar yen. Let's have a quick look at the yens. All week at the open. Even the pound is beating the yen, so it's definitely weak. Yeah, so we got a weak yen this morning. So obviously you've got the combination here of Aussie dollar being a bit strong, yen being a bit weak, and obviously this is pushing it up today. So look at areas where you are. I don't know where you've got in. I think you should take out another position and wait for profit taking. So yeah, basically when you're scaling into your positions, when you're position trading, you're scaling into positions. 125 of the monthly on the Oz Euro odd just been hit. So wherever you've got in, let's say for example you got in there, yeah, 83,335. I don't know where you got in, but I'm making it up as I go along. If you get in there, and obviously it flies against you, that's fine. Doesn't matter. It's just, you're just going into drawdown. That's what your account is there for. Your account is there to be used as drawdown. It's your risk. Your job as a trader is to take risks. You have a risk amount, which is your account. So basically you're getting into a position. If this doesn't hold, where do you think it's going? Yeah, likelihood is probably going to aim for ADR today because there's nothing in between to stop it. So that is your next level of potential resistance. Your first position is there. Your second position is 65 pips away on a 93 ADR. For me, that would be good. Yeah. So I like to take my additional positions somewhere between half an ADR to an ADR apart. The further apart you take your positions, yeah, the higher your average will be, obviously, and the slower it will take to get to it. So if you get into a second position here, your first position was here, your average is going to be there. You're going to need literally an hour down move and you're out at break even. If you want to get out of break even, obviously you want to get out of profit. If you get in here, your average is going to be there. So you're going to need probably 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours maybe of drop to get back to there. Yeah. But up to you when you scale in. The biggest problem people make with position trading is scaling in too fast. And everybody that's doing well with position trading that's been in here for a while will tell you that the biggest, whenever they get into trouble, the reason is because they get in there, expecting this thing to come down, and then it does that. And you're like, oh my God, I've got 4 positions on. I should really have taken my second position here. Now I've got 5 positions on. So you double your drawdown, you double your exposure. So just keep your entries nicely spaced apart. Look at what happens, yeah, when you get, if you got in there. Your second position, if you took your second position somewhere around there, yeah, you would have taken a third position up there, and then literally in one day, one session, 12 hours, you're out with a profit. If you'd have held it, you're out with a massive profit. But look back in time. Whenever you're thinking, right, I'm going to get into another position, look to your left and see how far price can push. And then go, actually, yeah, maybe I'm a bit quick. Yeah. So if you're position trading, that's how you do it, Harry. So if you're thinking about getting into another position, look at how far away it is. Yeah. ADR is 93. Yeah. You do not want to be getting in anything less than 45 pips from your position. Ideally, somewhere between 50 to 90 pips between your positions. So if you got in here and where we are now is 50 pips, fine, get into another position. Look at how extended it is. It's not extended at all. This thing could go all the way. This thing could get way more extended than this. Hourly. We're just getting extended now on the hourly. So we're probably at the point now where the buyers are going, right, well, we need to start dumping some of this and making some money. So, yeah. And you've just broken out as well. So what happens after a breakout as well? Just think. Breakouts. One of two things happens. They're a false breakout. or they are a support that was previous resistance. So one of those two things is going to happen. It's going to do that. Yeah. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to plan into the future. Where do I think is going next? I've taken a trade. What are the possibilities now? What normally happens now? We normally either have a false breakout or we have a breakout which holds and a bounce. So if you're getting in and your average is here at the moment, if you were to take another trade now and it brings your average up to here, the support bounce gets you out. That's what you've got to think. It's all about moving your average, yeah? Moving your average price around and keeping it within an ADR, because we know ADR is hit at least once or twice a week. Most things will hit an ADR. If it's been pushing really hard, it will tend to have an ADR drop. If you keep your average within these lines, yeah, 9 times out of 10 in a week, at least in a week, if not in a couple of days, you will have a move in an ADR in the opposite direction. So that's what you want to do, but you don't want to get in too fast in case it goes absolutely crazy, which is what we call a squeeze, obviously. And if you get caught the wrong side of a squeeze, you've got too many positions on, it's going to be painful. So just scale apart your entries and don't get in too quick. Hopefully that answers that question. But as I say, I don't know where you are, where your average is, where your positions are, how many you've got. If you've got less than 10 positions on, don't panic. If you've got less than 10 positions on and they're all like 10 pips apart, panic. If you want to DM me in Telegram, feel free. I can have a look at the positions for you, rather than airing your dirty laundry in public. Right, let's start off with the 4 hours. So we've got some big old extensions on 4 hours. Aussie CAD. This is another reason I've turned the EAs on today as well, because I just keep looking at these thinking, oh, they look so good. Aussie CAD, start there, 4 hour. So yeah, big nice extension and embedded. We've had the breakout. We got embedded. We had a tiny little profit take move, not really anything to talk about. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, what I've just been saying, Harry, on this. Yeah, pulls back into support and bounces. So this is a breakout that held, becomes a support bounce. Breakouts that don't hold, I'm just trying to find one that didn't hold. Yeah, so breakouts that don't hold become bounces. Yeah, so if you were playing the breakout short here, it didn't hold. Yeah, it comes back the other way. So one of those two things will tend to happen 95% of the time. So Aussie CAD, very, very nicely extended. We've got nicely embedded up there. Just waiting for a decent profit take move to start on this one. So, yeah, looks nice. Waiting for a reverse alert on it. Just had one actually on M15 and retested. And, yeah, looking good. So Aussie CAD. Aussie New Zealand, that one is extended now to the downside. New Zealand dollar, we are expecting to strengthen up. So this obviously, if you took this, what's going on there? Wrong pencil. If you took this one down here long, I think we got extended on that last 4 hours. So that was during the Asian session. We got the extension this morning. So you haven't had a reversal alert on that yet, but very, very, very nicely extended on that one. It is kind of counter trend though. Obviously, Aussie New Zealand is a short at the moment. So I think quite a few people might still already be in this one from all the way back here. And if so, and you've scaled in nice and evenly, you're out. Prime example. Yeah. Got in, didn't get out, got a second position. I mean, you would have got out there. You would have got out there. You would have got out there if you'd scaled in properly. But if you didn't, and it didn't quite get to your TPs because the 24 was supporting it, now you're out. Yeah, it's taken 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but you're out because that always happens. So Aussie, New Zealand. So yeah, it's for me, it's kind of a short. So it's probably going to pull back, but again, look at where it's going to pull back to. We've not got a lot of room really for a continuation to the downside, so not my favourite long opportunity at the moment. Euro odd extended massively. Again, Euro's just collapsing. I keep saying don't long the Euro because it's just dead. So yeah. Don't long it, still don't long it. Euro New Zealand, right, massive extension on Euro New Zealand. So although we are not longing it, this move at some point has got to pull back. When we get to the 80s and 20s, regardless of the COT bias, regardless of the movement that we are expecting to happen, there will be a profit take move of some description. And obviously you can see where we started looking at a bounce on this one was here. Yeah, which is why I've got the fib on there. And we were looking for 38. We didn't get that 38 bounce. And ever since this week, it has just gone through the floor because the New Zealand dollar is on its knees. And the euro is on its knees, and the New Zealand dollar has had amazing news. And obviously that's pushed it massively. So this move now, where we are, has not had a profit take, and we've got extended to the below the 20 levels. The 15s, we're so close to it. This very, very rare. Once a month, maybe we might get something appear here. Maybe. I mean, that doesn't happen, but it does happen every now and again. When it does, we're in it like a shot. We don't get there very often, very, very, very rarely. So we're very, very close. Not any profit taking on this entire move. So we are now 442 pips. So we are basically 4 ADR down in one direction without a profit take. This thing is going to pull back at some point soon. So again, if you're in this one already, you're being squeezed. If you've got into it nice and evenly, you've only got 3 or 4 positions on it. So we're waiting for that pullback to the 38. Now the 38 pullback at the moment is kind of 150 ADR in the opposite direction. So we want to get ideally a 50 retracement on it. And if you look at where the current potential resistance level is, most recent resistance is there, which is around about the 50 to 68. So 50 to 61. So I would say that is probably where we're more likely to get the bounce to. We need the New Zealand dollar to rest, which at the moment it's not doing, obviously, because it's off the back of news. So this is why we're getting this ADR hit today. We've also got levels down here that we're reaching for. So we've got these. Whoops. What happened there? We've got these potential lows down here, which are 150. So if we manage to get a 150 ADR on this today, it's going to have the perfect storm of being absolutely exhausted to levels that it just, when it gets there, look at this move. It's a counter move of this. Look, when it gets there, it's going to profit take. And we've got support bounce. We've got ADR. We'll have weekly range, RSI extension. The confluence is coming at your backside. So massive reversal on this one. It is counter trend. So obviously if you're going to take it, be aware you are trading counter trend on this one. But after moves like that, the bounce is usually a fairly decent one. Now, whether that bounce is going to be caused by the euro or the New Zealand, difficult to tell. The problem with the euro New Zealand, obviously, is when we have one currency start to weaken, the other one will, if it has any strength whatsoever, take over and make the move. The problem at the moment we have is the euro is very, very, very weak. So if the New Zealand dollar basically powers down and nothing happens with it, we have the potential for it just to flag and continue. So it's a bit of a dangerous one, but it is a massive potential reward and a very, very quick, easy sort of 2 ADR move in the opposite direction. So very nice extension on that one. Pound New Zealand, Massively extended. Pound is along, New Zealand is along. Again, we're nicely embedded down there. We're up to down to the sort of 30 levels, 27s now. I like getting in on my 4 hours when we get to 75. That's my kind of 75.25 is my kind of golden zone. We're nearly there, so I'd be happy to start scaling into a position long on this one now. Again, New Zealand dollar is what's in control at the moment. We're waiting for the pound to strengthen up a little bit. We've got decent levels down here to look at for support. So again, whenever you're getting into a position or contemplating getting into a position, right, we've got an ADR hit, we've got an RSI extension, we've had a little profit take move in the middle. So if I'm going to take my first position here, plan the next trades. Where am I getting in next? 72 bounce, support. Yeah. If we push down to here, second position. By then we should need to take a profit take out. Yeah. So you're always planning. Whenever you get into your first position in position trade, you're planning where are we going. Assume you're going to be wrong. Yeah, this trade is not going to work out when you take it. What's going to happen if I'm wrong, when I'm wrong? Yeah, we're going to come down and potentially bounce at that level. Why have I drawn that level in? Maybe that's a daily level. Not quite sure why I've got that level in there. That might be... oh, that's... yeah, cool. So, yes, I know exactly why I've got that round number in. That level in. Because it's a big round number. That's 2,000. Yeah. 2. So, we're going to get a bounce at the 2. Yeah. Or we're going to slam the 2, bounce off the 72. Or we're going to slam both of those and bounce off the most recent support resistance level. Yeah. So, there's your plan. Enter. See what happens when we get down there. If you get a reversal alert and you're far enough away, take a second. If not, get down there. If you want to get aggressive, take a second, take a third. By the time you get that pullback, you'll be quids in. Yeah. So pound New Zealand looks like a nice little long at the minute. New Zealand dollar CAD. Same thing. Massive extension. We did get a bit of a move here. This was a 38 retracement on that initial propulsion move. We had a little bit of a profit take, 50% on that one as well. So this is kind of looking orderly. So from a reversal point of view here, we are very extended. We've got lovely wicks going in at the moment. We've got 3 wicks on the trot. The sellers basically are stepping in now and going, nah, we've had enough. So this looks like a lovely little short. New Zealand is shot. CAD, we've got oil tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So we could get some potential CAD movement tomorrow. But again, with this one, just be aware of levels. Yeah. Look for where we're going. So potential bounce if we're going to continue to the upside. If we're going to have a deep pullback, potentially coming back down to this level, which was the previous support resistance level. Yeah. So got a little accumulation there. We'll probably get stuck out as well. So that looks like a nice little short. Very nicely extended. Massive extension on that one. Again, when we get to these sorts of levels, you're always going to get some kind of pullback. So it's literally a case of drop down to M15, wait for the reversal alert, which you're going to get there. Big propulsion move up this morning, which the buyers have stepped into and added to. So, but we got gaps and targets down below galore at the minute. There's been a lot of movement where people have got left behind. Some of the market participants are going to want to take price back down there and retest those levels. So looks like a lovely short, that one. Double topped London off of Asia and obviously just stop hunted that high. So looks good. Looks really good for a short. The EA will be getting me into that one, I think. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing, 4 hour extension. This is off the charts, basically. I know it's only just got extended, but from an RSI perspective, this is what I like to see on the RSI. I like to see things get there really fast. So we've gone from like being 40 on the RSI to being 70, literally in the space of a day. It's gone parabolic. Absolutely extended today, not showing any signs of weakness. This will be extended on the hourly as well. So you can take it on M5 really. M15 reversal alert just about to go in. M5, either or, doesn't matter which one you get in on, but absolutely shot. So nice opportunity for a short there as well, and New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And again, these are all New Zealand dollar moves because we've got no strength in any of these other things. US dollar would expect to strengthen up. Swiss would expect to strengthen up. It's not happening at the moment. So the New Zealand dollar is just having an absolute ball. But that is going to end. Yeah, these other pairs are going to strengthen up. So when we see that happening, obviously the profit take moves are starting to come in. Everything will start to collapse. So there's your 4 hours. Plenty of opportunities for getting into new positions. Obviously, just be aware of your exposure. Don't get overexposed. Only get into 1 or 2 New Zealand dollars. Don't get into them all. Don't take New Zealand US, New Zealand Swiss, New Zealand CAD and Euro New Zealand, because then you've got 4 times the exposure on the New Zealand dollar. If the New Zealand dollar for any reason does decide, actually I want to put another 2 ADR moves in, you're going to be in drawdown on 4 positions at the same time. So just manage that. So I'm just going to quickly look at the chat. Rahat, Euro New Zealand currently 4 positions, half an ADR distance by EA, H4 RSI also grounded. When do you think it's going to move up? Euro New Zealand. So yeah, so that one you'll be trading H1 M5, I assume. Well, you could be either or. Doesn't matter really. Yeah, so I think I've covered this one since you said that, haven't I? 150 ADR today. But yeah, I mean, you're perfect there, Rahat. You've got 4 positions on, half an ADR apart. So it's moved 2 ADR. Already, we're in a massive down move. So look for a pullback. So if you've got into 4 positions on that one, half an ADR apart, probably got into one there. Well, we're 116 on this, aren't we? So somewhere around there. So you got one there, one somewhere around there, one somewhere around there, I would say. So your average is going to be under the 38 retracement, I would imagine, somewhere around 125 ADR. So there's your break even. Up to you what you want to do with this trade, whether you want to get out of break even or when you want to take profit on that one, take profit on that one, or whatever, take profit on that one and that one, and then maybe take half off of that, bring your average to somewhere like that, and assume we're going to get a big of a push. But just bear in mind, you are completely counter trend on this. Euro New Zealand is a short, a massive short. Euro's a massive short. New Zealand's flipped on the cot long. This is probably the strongest short out there at the moment, which is why this has happened. So you've gone in completely the opposite direction. But these are great trades to take because you get yourself out of these trades. It gives you much more confidence. Yeah. So when you get out of this, either the end of this week or early next week, you'll go, wow, this works. You'll see it happen. The profit take will happen. It's how big it's going to be. We don't know how big it's going to be because we don't know what they need to do, what they want to do, how much money they need or want to make. It's out of our control. But you just have to adapt and adjust as you're necessary. So New Zealand dollar CAD, Aseni wants to look at. I think we might have looked at that one as well. Massively extended, lovely short. Yeah, we just looked at that one, didn't we? So yeah, wicks to the upside, looking ripe, ready to go now. Right, so there's the 4 hours covered. Hourlies, same stuff. Aussie Swiss on the hourlies, really nice extended. That's just coming up to. In fact, it's just done a stop hunt on that level. And we are up in an area. It's quite an old one. Yeah, it's quite old. So we're basically this accumulation here, where they accumulated all the short orders and started the movement. We're just tapping back up into that area again. We've already rejected it once. I would say probably this time because it got rejected there. We'll probably push up into it. We'll probably get 100 ADR out of it. We might get a bounce here. You never know. But yeah, very, very, very extended. So looking for a profit take move to start on that one. Yeah. Just look at, just whenever you're in doubt, just look at what happens after the strong moves. every time we get extended on the RSI, look at what happens after those moves. The profit take happens. That is where I would have got out on this one. I wouldn't have left that. Yeah, as much as I'd love to say, yeah, well, wow, look how much money you would have made on that. No, I got out there. I got out with a half an ADR to an ADR profit. I never hold that because you don't know if what's going to happen is it's going to do that. Yeah, so you get out with profit. That's the whole point, is making money, putting money in the bank every day. Yeah, big strong move, profit take. Big strong move, profit take. Big strong move, profit take. Strong move, profit take. Strong move, profit take. It happens over and over again. This is what the market does. This is how the market makes its money. Big strong move, profit take. Yeah. Squeeze, got in again, profit take. Got in again, profit take. Got in again, profit take. Got in again, out of this original move completely. Yeah. So that's how the market moves. You just need to have the faith and the confidence to keep getting in to these scales. Yeah, these are basically manipulation to levels ready for profit takes. Yeah, so when they're doing these, it's not a case of, oh, the market's bullish. It's a case of the market's getting ready to sell off. This is why everybody gets it wrong. Everybody goes, oh, look, we've broken out of there. They take a little long with a target at 4-1 or something up there, and then the market dumps and they go, oh, break even. Phew, I got out. Haven't made any money. Because, no, you're not going to get a 4-1 on it before it does a pullback because the market's got to take profit. It's just the way it works. So right now is another good scale-in position on Aussie Swiss. Sorry, going off on a tangent. Euro odd. Massive extension to the downside. Again, Euro odd and Euro New Zealand. Both of these. They are longs. They're very nicely embedded longs. But look at what happened last time. Yeah. You've got to have that bias as well on the, this is why the COT report is important. To me, anyway. Yeah, I know you don't have to take the COT report into account. But if the futures market is long on New Zealand and it's short on the euro, do you think you should be going long Euro New Zealand when the entire market is sitting there with positions in the opposite direction? I'm not talking about retail. I'm talking about the banks and institutions. They are the guys that make all the money. Do you think they get it wrong? Not normally. So that is why I use COT. It gives me that little bit of a, am I really sure about this? Now, when you're that extended, I don't really mind about the COT. Yeah, if like Euro New Zealand, if I get into a position when we are that extended, yeah, fine. Even the banks are going to go, right, we need a rest. Yeah, so it's but that's what COT's there for, is to kind of try and get you on the right side of the market. If there's no bias on COT, if your tradable bias is neutral, you can trade it in any direction you like. Yeah, they're shorts against shorts. Therefore, they're probably going to move quite nicely. But if you've got something that is massively a short against a massive long, like Aussie dollar, US dollar, for example, you don't really want to be long in that. But it will move. The COT is a long-term bias. It's a 12-week bias. So, these movements can go completely the opposite direction for weeks on end to what the COT says. But you have that in the back of your head that if the COT said this was a long and it's gone like that, you've got a lot more confidence the banks are going to move this in the other direction. When you've got it that way and you've longed it, you're like, oh my God, the banks have got no reason to do that. So that's why I use the COT and how I use the COT. So yeah, Euro New Zealand massively extended. Pound New Zealand, again, nice extension there. This is a long against a long. Again, waiting for reverse alert on M5 on this one. Likely to come and fade that gap. So looking for a reversal alert to give us signs of strength. Potential 90 pip move on that one. But again, very exhausted. Exhausted on the hourly. Exhausted on the 4 hourly. Exhausted on M15. Hit ADR. How much more confidence and confluence do you need to get into a trade? Yeah, it may well push further. So if it is going to push further, where's it going to go? Let's have a look at the chart. 72. Old levels of support and resistance. Big round numbers. Yeah. So at some point, it's going to bounce. Yeah. We get in on that bounce. We get out on that bounce. So pound New Zealand, very nicely extended. New Zealand, all these New Zealands, I won't go into all of them in detail, but yeah, they're all massively extended. We know they're extended. They're all due a profit take at some point. And the beauty of the New Zealands at the moment is obviously they are crossed with three majors that are all massively weak: Swiss franc, yen, and US dollar. Yeah, so this is why we've got these moves, because New Zealand dollar's having a power up, and these three guys are sitting there going, actually, we're not really getting any money coming in at the minute. So there's the move, and obviously at some point these three guys are going to go, oh, actually, a load of money's going to jump, and boom, they will all beat the New Zealand down. So the majors are always going to knock the rest back into touch. So New Zealand dollar CAD is obviously the only little anomaly in this one. The oil prices are going up and probably will continue to go up with the conflict. So we should see some power coming through on the CAD, some strength on the CAD. Lovely M pattern reversal going in right now on that one. So yeah, I would say we're going to get a decent move and a different profit take on this one. But obviously, again, look where it's coming. Potentially down to there, but we've got gaps as well, which potentially we could pull back into deep if we're going to continue on that move. So yeah, lots of opportunity across all time frames, whichever time frames you're trading. Lots of nice extensions. Right. For manual, we do tons of analysis and consider all factors, but the EA is free from all of this stress to open a trade and base on a set of rules, and that's it. Yes, exactly. And this is why I keep saying about the EA. You've heard me go on about this many, many, many times. I built the EA to get me into positions when the conditions are right. I didn't build the EA to go and stick it on a chart and just take trades for me willy-nilly just because a set of conditions are met. It will work, but you're better off and safer going, I'm going to set the Euro New Zealand on the EA to long only. Yeah. So when you stick it on your chart, you go, yeah, I want you to take whatever setup, mean reversion. Yeah. But please, with the Euro, only take shorts for me. Yeah. You've got to use your head as well. Like Rahat's just pointed out, an EA is a bot. It will do what it's told to do, and you put garbage into it in the settings, it will give you garbage back. Yeah, you're a trader. You trade. Yeah, the EA executes orders on your behalf, but you need to do the analysis. Do I really want to be getting into these New Zealand short now? Yeah, I do, because we've got lovely tails. So let's stick the EA on M5 and get in short now. But my reason for getting in now is not just because it's extended on RSI. It's because I'm looking at this and going, wow, there's a load of sellers coming in. Analysis. And there's no one analysis that works every time. Yeah, tails didn't work there. Well, they did work there, but you know, it's just you got to support. Bounced off of that level multiple times. Stick the EA on. Say, take the next reverse alert long for me. Thank you very much. Yeah, RSI conditions weren't met. Whatever reason you get into the market, the EA is there to scale you in and scale you out. Take the profits for you while you're asleep. You know, things like the New Zealand dollar at the minute. You know, we're not awake. Well, I'm not awake when stuff's going on. The EA this morning on H1 M5 on one of the other accounts I've got running, which is one of the ones that feeds into the signal service, took a $400 profit on that this morning. I was asleep in bed. You know, so that's what it's there for. But I'm going to wake up in the morning, look at it and go, right, what do I want to do with this now? So yeah. Right, that's all I've got for you today. I'm not here this afternoon, as I say, so there's no session this afternoon for New York. Anything you need, come into the Telegram group. I will be there all day. I'm always in the Telegram group until I disappear out later on. Tomorrow morning I'll be back at 9:30. No, I won't. I'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow morning, usual time. Be aware of news. Actually, we've just had news come out on the pound. Let's have a quick look what impact that's had. Oh dear. Pound's not happy today, is it? Yeah, didn't like that. Euro New Zealand's just hit its weekly range as well. Wednesday. So yeah, another reason to get into Euro New Zealand. So yeah, big push down on the pound off the back of that news. So obviously this candle we're looking at. This candle we're looking at the minute came out 10 minutes ago. So again, more down move on the pound. So any of these pounds that you're looking to get into, obviously even more extended now. Nice wicks on that one, but obviously this is against US dollar. So keep your eyes peeled on those. The reason I was just saying about the pound news is because I was just looking at the news for what to look for overnight. This afternoon we've got nothing. We just had Tenrico. Don't recognise that name. Tenriro scheduled. That wasn't on the news list, so that person's just been scheduled to speak at 5 o'clock. I don't even know if that's a man or a woman. And then tomorrow we've got Bailey in the afternoon and then GDP. So there's no more news today to impact the market. So again, as usual, just keep an eye on this feed. That's why that's dropping. Bailey's obviously just said about something slightly bearish. So yeah, keep an eye on this news feed today. Obviously, any spikes you see in the market, more than likely going to be due to Russian movement or Russian news. And don't forget, this thing could escalate or de-escalate on a moment's notice. So you're also going to potentially see lots of movement in the opposite direction on good news, where Russia decides actually we'll pull out and we'll sit down and talk because you've cut off the new gas pipeline Germany and we don't want to do this anymore. So equally, the markets could shoot in either direction at a moment's notice, up or down or both. Get a lot of whipsaws. But either way, whichever way they go, we know that once they get there, they're going to unravel because profit taking will happen. So just make sure you're scaling in as normal and try and stay in line with COT. All right, so I will be back tomorrow at 8:30. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. Give us a thumbs up if you like the stream, and hopefully have a good, profitable day. And I will see you in the morning.